The first warning arrived disguised as applause during the quarterly strategy meeting at Redwood Biosystems, where every employee had been summoned to welcome the company's newly hired transformation director, Ethan Cross, a charismatic consultant whose polished speeches impressed executives long before anyone examined the results of his previous projects. As Natalie Brooks, a 43-year-old regulatory operations specialist with 12 years of experience, quietly reviewed renewal schedules on her laptop, Ethan smiled confidently and declared, "The future belongs to people who embrace speed instead of tradition," before glancing directly toward her desk and adding, "Some positions exist simply because nobody has challenged them yet," drawing nervous laughter from the room while Natalie calmly saved encrypted copies of every regulatory record she personally managed, sensing that experience had just become the newest target in his campaign. Unlike most employees, Natalie had never chased recognition because she believed the strongest systems were the ones nobody noticed until they disappeared, spending years designing intricate compliance frameworks, emergency audit procedures, licensing databases, and vendor approval systems that quietly protected the company from devastating legal and financial consequences. Her work had helped Redwood expand into international markets, pass every government inspection without penalties, and secure partnerships worth millions. Yet many executives mistakenly believed those achievements happened automatically because Natalie had always solved problems before anyone else even realized they existed. Within days, Ethan introduced sweeping organizational reforms that looked impressive inside colorful presentation slides filled with fashionable corporate phrases like dynamic restructuring, accelerated efficiency pathways, and lean governance architecture, convincing younger employees that complicated experience could somehow be replaced by enthusiasm and software dashboards. Department meetings became performances where seasoned professionals were encouraged to defend their own positions while newly hired graduates enthusiastically applauded every announcement. And Natalie quietly noticed that the people making the loudest promises understood almost nothing about the federal certifications, inspection protocols, and legal obligations holding the entire organization together. Meanwhile, Northgate's biggest international client unexpectedly requested major revisions to a strategic expansion project only days before an important board presentation, exposing the uncomfortable truth that every critical process relied on Claire's expertise despite management insisting she was replaceable. Senior executives scrambled through hundreds of pages of documentation searching for answers while conference rooms filled with increasingly tense meetings. Yet every solution had already been carefully explained in guides that nobody had considered worth reading until they desperately needed them. By Friday morning, the company's chief executive, Daniel Mercer, personally invited Claire into his office after witnessing the growing operational chaos, greeting her with a sincerity she had never experienced from senior leadership before. Instead of making excuses, he admitted that the organization had failed to appreciate the value of invisible leadership and openly asked what it would take for someone with her knowledge, judgment, and loyalty to continue building the company's future instead of taking those talents elsewhere. Claire explained that another respected firm had recently approached her with an executive role offering greater authority, improved compensation, and, more importantly, a workplace where strategic thinkers were recognized before a crisis rather than after one. Daniel listened carefully before presenting an entirely new proposal that included a position overseeing operational innovation across the company, direct access to executive decision-making, flexible working arrangements, and genuine authority to redesign outdated systems instead of endlessly repairing them. Although the offer exceeded anything Claire had imagined, she refused to answer immediately because money alone could not erase years of being overlooked whenever success was celebrated or blamed whenever difficulties appeared. During the weekend, she reflected on conversations with her family, considered the opportunity to start fresh elsewhere, and gradually realized that true professional fulfillment depended not only on salary, but also on whether an organization was genuinely prepared to respect the people who quietly held everything together. When Monday arrived, Claire returned to headquarters with complete clarity and accepted Daniel's proposal under two carefully considered conditions that surprised everyone involved in the negotiations. She requested complete freedom to recruit a specialized improvement team and insisted that Martin should not lose his position because of her promotion, explaining that meaningful leadership solved broken systems rather than chasing personal revenge. Even when past treatment might have justified resentment, the announcement spread rapidly through every department, and employees who had previously overlooked Claire suddenly recognized how many successful projects